Hi everybody, it is April and I'm in my craft room, and today I'm doing a collaboration with the Pioneer Woman and Fat Quarter Shop. I am stretching the truth just a little bit about the collaboration with the Pioneer Woman and Fat Quarter Shop. They don't know about the collaboration, but I am using the new Pioneer Woman fabric that I found at Walmart, and I am using a free pattern from the Fat Quarter Shop. So essentially, since I am doing the work and they are providing me what I need in order to get the work done, it's a collaboration, right? That's what I'm going to call it. I am very excited. I am enamored with the Pioneer Woman patterns. So I like her towels and her dishes. Just the big florals, I think they're beautiful. And when I saw this fabric, and actually I didn't find it initially, Dee texted me a picture of the fabric at Walmart, and I immediately had to go to Walmart. The first Walmarts I went to, notice I said Walmarts, I found the 3-yard bundle. Let me show you. This is a 3-yard bundle. One of the Walmarts that I ended up at had the Fat Quarter bundles. And the Fat Quarter bundles have fabric in them that I didn't see with the 1-yard cuts, which look like this, or the 3-yard cuts. So I don't know if they're not available or what's going on, but they coordinate beautifully. They're colors that I like, so I invested in them. I am on a mailing list for Fat Quarter Shop, and I enjoy shopping there because, number one, it is an individual owned business. Their pre-order process is wonderful and their prices are reasonable. So I like to support them, and they donate to charities. So all that together makes them a great place to shop as far as I'm concerned. They have a Fat 8 flapjack quilt pattern. Now I know I don't have Fat 8s, but you know what? I have a rotary cutter and I can make these Fat 8s. And that is what I intend to do. The smallest version of this quilt is 44 by 44. I think I'm going to make a few extra blocks because essentially it's all made with one block, and it's called the flapjack block. And I believe you just flip it back and forth, but we'll find out together. So let's get started. No, I'm not ready to get started yet. I have a few other things that I want to talk about. Along with the fat quarters, I found this little beauty. And someone asked me, do you need it? I'm like, no, I don't need it. I want it. It's pretty. I like pretty things, and this is pretty. So I'm going to take these scissors out of this package and I will let you know how well they cut. But wait, there's more. I had purchased this a while back. It's so soft. And let's see, what's the size? 50 by 72. Well, you know what? I think I want to use this on the back of my quilt, because if you notice, one of my fabrics that I'm using is that pattern. Pretty much. Kind of. So hopefully we'll be putting this on the back. Unfortunately, I will lose the lace because I don't see how I could do the lace unless I have some, revelation. One more thing. This calls for Fat 8s, and actually 10 Fat 8s for the crib size. 1 yard of background fabric, and this is going to be my background fabric. It is a white on white, It is by Keepsake Calico, so it is a Joann's fabric. 1/2 yard of binding, and then 3 yards of backing. You are going to be cutting 3-inch squares. And I immediately went to pre-cut squares. These are 2.5, so you're either going to have to use your rotary cutter, or if you are lucky enough to have a 3-inch square and a go from Quilt, you can cut those 3-inch squares with a die. Now let's get started. Enough of the chit chat. Let's go through the fabrics that I'm going to use. I have opened all of my fat quarters. Now what I want to do is iron. I am going to break out the Faultless spray because even when I iron, I can still see wrinkles. And this stuff helps that go away. So I need 10 9x20 rectangles. And out of each of those 10 fat 8s, I'm going to cut 6 3x8 inch pieces. So when I'm done, I should have a total of 60 3-inch by 8-inch strips. Because I'm starting with fat quarters, I'm going to have to cut mine down. Alrighty, I line my fat quarters up by this corner and across the selvage, because the selvage is the straightest part of the fabric. Fat quarter is usually 18 by 21. So half a fat quarter would be 9 by 20 or 9 by 21. This particular pattern calls for cutting out strips that are 8 inches long. So since I'm starting out with a bigger piece of fabric, instead of cutting the fat quarter in half at 9 inches and then cutting off another inch, I'm going to cut the fat quarter at 8 inches, and then I will have that extra to do another project. First thing I need to do is I need to straighten up the side. The selvage is the straightest part. Let me adjust the camera. What I need to determine before I trim is how far back the shortest fabric is. And it looks like this is my shortest. When I flip this back, I should make sure that I am getting both pieces of fabric. And then I'm going to pick a line on my ruler, and I'm going to line the selvage on that line, because again, selvage is the straightest part of my fabric. And it helps if you have a piece of fabric that has like a white selvage. And the way I can tell most easily whether or not I have gotten all of the fabric is I should have a little bitty strip of each. So now this side is straight, and I know that I want 8 inches across. And it just so happens that this particular ruler is 8.5 inches. So I am going to put my 8-inch mark along the straight side and cut my 8 inches. I still have some trimming to do on this one. So what I will do is I will cut my selvage, because I know, again, straightest part. I keep harping on that, but it is true. Now I have 3 straight sides. The only thing left to do is straighten this 4th side. In order to do that, I am going to take my ruler. I have 2, neither of which is 18 inches wide. I'm going to lay this ruler down where this straight line is 18. Then I will bump this ruler up next to it, make sure I've still got my line. Take this ruler away, and cut here. And this gives me 8 by 18. What I need to do next is leave it stacked and straight, and I need to cut at 3 inches by 8 inches. Well, I know I've got my 8 inches here, so I need to cut 3-inch sections. I'm going to take my ruler, find my 3-inch mark, and cut 6 3 by 8 inch rectangles or strips. And there we have 24 of the 60 rectangles that I need. Let me cut the rest of my fabric and I'll be right back. If you don't have an AccuQuilt, what you're going to do is straighten your fabric, cut at 3 inches, and then cut 3 inches. Now we have our rectangles and our 3-inch squares. What we are going to do is sew these together to create this. And this is the basis of our block. So we will have 3 of these together, and the difference is the way that the white square is facing. So there will be 2 white squares facing the same way, and the center rectangle will have the white square at the opposite end. Then we're going to add this strip at the end with the single white square, and that will create our flapjack block. I need 15 flapjack blocks, that's really hard to say, in order to make a 44 by 44 inch quilt. I believe I'm going to have 18 because I want my quilt to be a little longer than it is wide. I'm also supposed to add a 3.5 inch border, and I'm going to make my border at least 4 inches. So let me get my blocks together, I'll put them on the design wall, and we'll see what it looks like. So this is how I have decided to arrange my blocks. I have also added an additional row at the bottom. I don't want it to be square, and I don't want it to be quite as small as the pattern calls for. And I have started putting my rows together. There will be quite a bit of seam matching on this because you're going to be matching this seam, 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 and this seam. So it's going to take some patience. I have also decided instead of adding 1 border, I am going to add 2. My first border will be a solid border, and it is going to be red. And if I hold it up here, you can see how it looks. Now let's see if we can get this to stick. This is a yard of fabric. All right, cool. This 1 yard cut of the Pioneer Woman, it matches this particular grouping. It's got the red and the blue, and there is a whole lot of red and blue here, but I'll show you what I mean. So I am going to sew my rows together and then sew my rows together, add my borders, and I'll show you what it looks like. My quilt top is complete. I am very pleased with the way that this turned out. I don't know if my fluffy backing will work on it. I'm not even sure that that's the color that I want to use, but I love the Scrappy broken up with this red border and then these beautiful blue and red flowers on the outside. It almost has a little patriotic feel to it. Update on the Pioneer Woman scissors. They have really fat handles. You know how some scissors have kind of skinny handles? These are really, they're nice, they're fat, and it does a nice job of cutting. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Eat some chocolate and be kind to everyone. Until next time. Bye. And then I just happen, and my dog is barking and she drives me crazy. Crazy. You can cut that 3-inch squares or those. How I Queen of sound effects. Seriously, not even kidding. We'll create our flapjack box. Block. And now another. I have a whiny dog. I've got a whiny dog.